Hey everybody, Phil from Core Video Product here. I'm going to introduce to you Hyper Hits, which we've just released, by the numbers. So, number 1. Hyper Hits is IGT's first ever linked core progressive MLP game. 2, we've got 2 different math models. They're made up of three different base game themes. So over here, we have Longship Legend and Flower Empress, making up one math model. And we've got a tweak over here called the Golden Bow. 4, we've got 4 different progressive reset options. So we have a P1 that resets to either 5,000, 10,000, 20 or 30,000, and we're recommending that we go out there with the 10,000 option most often because it's most competitive out there in the market, consistent with other jackpot themes from other manufacturers. We recommend doing this at the 87% RTP configuration. And number 5, this game is all about the 5-of-a-kind chase. That's what that hyper hit feature is all about. It happens fairly hyperactively, 1 every 14 spins or so. So 5-of-a-kind chase, if you land a 5-of-a-kind with a silver ring around symbol number 5, then you win the credit value that's inside. If you have a 5-of-a-kind with a gold ring around the outside, then you win the progressive jackpot that's listed inside there as well. Now I'm going to step out of the way and we'll take you through the games in some more detail. So just before we go through the individual games themselves, one of the things about Hyper Hits which is kind of interesting and unique is that it offers the player the opportunity to choose between playing lines along the top row of buttons or ways along the bottom row of buttons. So here we have 50 credit cost to cover for 50 lines with a configurable max bet of up to 10 times, or 60 credits for 243 ways, again up to 10 times at 600 credits. Some players like to play lines more than ways. Ways is also nice because it gives the player more opportunity to land 5-of-a-kinds, which is why it costs a little more. But really, having the choice is what's really nice about this particular game. So first of all, we'll take you through the Golden Bow. But just before I do that, I'd like to tell you that Hyper Hits itself has originated from the Australian market. We've brought that over here to North America. Australia, as you know, is where a lot of the very competitive linked MLP product comes from, so we feel very confident that this particular product that has been designed for the right kind of progressive jackpot player in mind, with the right kind of hit frequencies that are going to keep them entertained. So the Golden Bow, as you can see, it's an Asian theme. It's centered around this woman here who is a wild symbol with an archer, and we have archer bows as symbols as well. We're playing 50 lines at the moment for 50 credits. I'm more of a ways player, so I'm going to select the 243 ways, which you can see now this has changed, and we're playing 60 credits. I'm going to spin a few times because the Hyper Hits feature, again, I mentioned, occurs about 1 in 14 spins. It happens fairly frequently. If it doesn't happen naturally, I'll gaff it for you so you can see what it looks like. So, again, you've got that Aussie-style sound that's very pared back. It's just the reel spinning, so it has a real gambler appeal. And what we're trying to do is land 4-of-a-kind and try and hit that 5th symbol with a silver or gold ring around it. Again, I'll give it a few more spins to see if it happens, and if not, we'll trigger it so you can see what it looks like when it does. And this is a perfect example. We have a wild symbol, we've got 5-of-a-kind with the ace symbol. Up here we have a silver ring and 500 credits in addition to the pay. To win one of the progressives, what's going to happen is, in a similar fashion, we're going to trigger the maxi progressive here. We're going to have a 5-of-a-kind pay. Instead of being a silver ring around the outside of symbol on reel 5, it's going to be a gold ring, and then it's going to reveal one of those progressive levels. In this case, it's the maxi. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the free games of the Golden Bow. The free games feature is what differentiates this particular math model from the other 2 games, Longship Legend and Flower Empress. In the free games, what is going to occur? Well, first of all, we're going to land 3 scatter symbols. It's going to trigger the bonus, and then we'll initiate with 7 free spins. Every time one of these symbols, the wild symbol, lands during the free games, we'll get 1 additional spin, and the full reel will lock for the next spin. So we're going to increase the chances of landing those 5-of-a-kinds. Speaking of those 5-of-a-kinds, only the credit prizes with a silver ring are available in the free games. The jackpots, the progressive jackpots, are only available in the base game. So I'm going to trigger the free games now so we can see what occurs. Okay, because she's landed there, we have the extra free game. The reel is going to lock. That's going to remain wild for the next spin. Hopefully we're going to get a 5 of a kind, which we have. Because we have the wild up here and we're playing waves, we're going to get a repeat pay. We're going to get it twice. We got another hyper hits pay. These two reels will now lock. We're going to have an additional spin. If we land another wild on the next spin, all 3 will remain again. So you get the idea. This is the free games feature of the Golden Bow. We're now going to move on and have a look at the free games and the base games of the other 2 titles. Okay, next we have Flower Empress, and it shares the same math profile as Longship Legend, which we'll take a quick look at in a moment. It's slightly more volatile overall than the Golden Bow that we just had a look at, but it does share a similar Asian-style graphics package, so it would go nicely together. It has a nice flower, the Empress symbol here is the wild, it's got some jade statues, peacocks, koi, fish, etc. So a nice Asian theme. Again, the base game functions identically to the Golden Bow. We're trying to make you 5 of a kinds. What really is the differentiator, though, is the free games bonus. In this case, the free games itself will initiate with 3 scatter symbols for 10 free games. And what's going to happen is whenever that Empress symbol lands, she's going to expand. Unlike the Golden Bow, where you get an additional free spin, what's going to happen is she'll fill the reel with a 3 high wild, therefore making the potential to win 3 or more hyper hits credit pays at a time possible. So this is a perfect example. We've got a stacked wild here, and we're going to win that prize on the end. Because I'm playing waves here and not lines, I'm going to go through that wild 3 separate times, and I'm going to win that 300 credit prize 3 times for 900 credits. So that is Flower Empress. So the last theme we're going to take a look at is Longship Legend. It's more of a Viking, Nordic kind of theme. We've got a Viking goddess up here, and she is the wild symbol, and we've got the scatter symbol here with the oversized shield. Again, it shares the same math profile as Flower Empress that we just had a look at, both games being slightly more volatile than the Golden Bow, and in the free games feature, the goddess wild symbol will expand to a full real wild, being a 3 high wild to try and really bump up the chances of getting multiple credit pays when the hyper hits feature engages. I'm just going to spin it a few times so you can see what it looks like. Obviously it's a little bit different to the Asian themes, so potentially something that would suit underneath all of them once we've built up a nice bank size, or potentially it's something to keep on its own. You've got an Asian bank, and you've got on the other side potentially this Longship Legend theme. So the free games themselves, let's just take a look at the different art style. The transition's really nice, which is going to occur now when the screen fills with different coloured shields. And we go into the free games. Again, anytime one of those wild symbols lands, she's going to fill the reel, be a full real wild. So it looks nice, it's a little different. All 3 could go together, but I like to think of this one as its own theme, bank this one separately potentially, and the Asian ones together themselves. Alright, now that we've been through the inner workings of each of the games, how should we bank these games out in the field? So one way of doing it is like we've done here, putting one of each theme, a bit of variety, but it's not actually the way that we're recommending we start out. So perhaps there's a more strategic way of doing it. What we could do, for example, is just pick one theme. Maybe go with a slightly less volatile The Golden Bow over here, or the slightly more volatile Flower Empress or Longship Legend. Maybe choose 2 themes, have an Asian bank to begin with, but don't go out there with all 3 themes at once. The reason that we're suggesting this is that if it comes time that you need to make a conversion to extend the life cycle of the Hyperhits overarching link, you've still kept something in reserve. You've got something in your back pocket to come back with later, and then you can deploy that and try to extend the life of the bank. Once you've done that a couple of times, that's probably the end of the life cycle of this particular product, but by that time you're a year to a year and a half down the track, maybe longer if things have gone well, and then you have the next for sale linked core MLP to come back with and start the process all over again. So that's Hyperhits. We hope you enjoy it. We think it's going to do really well. See you soon.